This is Comic Geek Speak 111.
Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Brian Deemer.
I'm Jamie D.
I'm Peter Rios.
We're just gonna outwit LaFour's X-Men style.
Should I call you Logan, Weapon X?
No, Wolverine, snickety, snoring.
What he's doing is imitating Wolverine's berserker attack with his adamantium claws.
And welcome to the show. We're gonna just go. We're gonna just go
Any
right into
announcements? Yeah, no announcements.
We'll save the announcements for after.
Yeah, sounds good.
With us here on the phone is Paul Daly and Steve Bryant, writer and artist of Athena Voltaire. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Hey.
How you doing?
Okay.
Good.
That was such an enthusiastic hello, Steve.
I just got done driving. Okay. Hi.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's much better.
Okay, thanks. I practiced in the car.
Where are you guys? You're both in Chicago? Chicago? Yes? No? Maybe.
No, I'm in St. Louis.
St. Louis. Ah, okay.
And I'm in pretty much the middle of nowhere, halfway between Chicago and St. Louis.
Okay.
Central Illinois.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah,
Central
land,
Illinois.
farm.
That doesn't get any better than that. So, well, I guess we should ask you the question that everyone always gets asked: is when did you first start reading comics?
Age before beauty, Paul.
Let's see. In the 60s, I won't even tell you my age. My father bought me comics, probably the ones he wanted to read, which they were all war comics. He was a Marine. And, boy, what are we talking here? Early 50s?
Like the EC stuff, or?
Oh, no. This was mostly, the ones I remember the most of. Charlton was putting out a bunch of war comics, and Dell. So, I guess that would make it early 60s.
Okay.
So that's where I first started reading comics.
Then where'd you go from there?
Gold Key. I didn't hit the superheroes until Spider-Man and Fantastic Four came out. And if I had kept mine in better shape, I'd be a rich man today.
Which Gold Key was that? The
Space Family Robinson, Tarzan, Turok, Kona. Well, that's Dell, but the ones with the painted covers.
Cool. And what attracted you about comics?
Let's see. The covers first off. I mean, they're we don't have anything like that now, and they were just fantastic stuff. I got a whole bunch of them up on my studio wall right now. It's just everything we weren't seeing in movies, basically. Except for like an occasional Harryhausen movie, there wasn't really much to see.
Did you trade with your friends and things like that?
Well, we had back then. There was not all video games and such, so everybody collected comics, and I mean everybody. So we had like 4 different groups of guys who had their own little comic companies drawing. So we started our own. So we were up against guys who were like, one outfit would be drawing the Marvel characters, and some other guys would be drawing DC characters, and then this one group, they apparently got the rights to James Bond and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And the hilarious thing is we let them do that. Like, okay, you guys are doing that, so we can't do it. So we pretty much came up with our own stuff, which was pretty wacky things. And we just sat at the picnic table. There was a whole bunch of guys, and we'd draw comics. And then they'd be passed around between 3 different schools.
Does any of that exist today?
The only thing I have left is one of our, I guess you would call it an early graphic novel. It was Craig Martin, Time Master. And everybody worked on those. And it's Alien Attack, and of course Alien is spelled wrong.
Oh, jeez.
So no proofreaders in the group?
No, and my friend, this particular one was written by my friend, and his pseudonym was Ray T. Clipstone for whatever reason.
That's a good pseudonym.
Yeah, I mean, for back then, and to really place it in a time period, the characters in it are listening to the Beatles. I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Ah.
So that's how old we're talking here.
Did you eventually break away from comics and then come back to it, or?
No, just whenever I had an opportunity to get printed anywhere, school newspapers, college newspapers. We did some syndicated, college papers, and self-published. I've been at it quite a while. But then to make money, I went into commercial art, and that's how I met Steve. I started doing role-playing game art, and he was my art director. Of course, after Steve, and I'm not saying this just because he's my buddy, but after Steve, the role-playing game things were like work as opposed to being fun.
Huh. What company were you working for?
Oh, geez, everybody. Steve was working for, well, he can tell you, GDW is when I met him. Space 1889.
Okay.
And ring any bells?
Yes.
I heard of that.
And, later on, I've worked on Deadlands. Well, me and Steve both worked on Deadlands, and, gosh, Steve Jackson games, you name it.
Cool. What about you, Steve?
Which games did I work on?
No, your backstory.
Oh, geez. Well, I didn't know that the first stuff you got into, Paul, was war stuff, because unlike everybody else on the show, I actually know the first comic that I read, which
really,
Sergeant Fury number 101.
Huh.
I think it was written by Gary Friedrich and drawn by Dick Ayers. I was 5, and my mom would read it to me. It was just that was just the coolest thing in the world. And from there, we got into the all the Marvel war stuff, all the Marvel cowboy stuff, and I think it was 74. Avengers 129 had this great shot of Kang the Conqueror on the cover, and that pulled me into superheroes. So that's the whole thing with me.
Excellent.
So you guys, you met up doing the gaming stuff, and how did you realize that you guys could work together? What was the collaboration like?
Well, we worked on so many jobs together. After a while, it was,
Yeah,
we just kept saying, eventually we're going to do comic book stuff. We're going to work on something.
I started it at GDW, and then even after I left GDW, and I was at a game company called FASA, I brought the people that I liked to work with me, and Paul was one of them. And I think we started talking about this around 96, was when I think, that was when I gave you the name and said, hey, could you write something around this? And he just went nuts, throwing out concepts left and right.
So why this particular genre? Was it because of the books you started reading?
You want me to field this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Goofiest story in the world. I was teaching at a community art center, and we were having an instructor show, and I had entered a piece that I had done for a business card. This retro-looking space gal with a fin on her head and all kinds of other stuff, and all the instructor pieces had to be named, and I could not. I didn't want to call it Untitled. So I actually called it Athena Voltaire Space Ranger because it made me laugh. And I kept thinking, man, that's a pretty cool name. And I just realized I really suck at doing hardware. So I thought, well, what do I want to draw? And that's when I, thought about pulp stuff and 30 stuff and called Paul because he's virtually an encyclopedia of that kind of stuff.
I have to say, reading the first issue, there's the authenticity factor is high. I read all these names and these locations and especially around all the Nazi agents and things like that, and I go, okay, I know if I probably crack open some kind of history book, some of this stuff is going to be in there.
That's Paul.
Yeah, so when you said that kind of rung that bell. I say here I was thinking Athena Voltaire, the name was going to have this really cool backstory. I mean, there's so much mythology around Athena, of course, and then Voltaire, and I was just I was expecting something why that name? What does that hold for you? So,
No, you expected a deep thinker, but instead you got me.
That's okay.
And for me personally, it's kind of nice that there's no ties to mythology or anything because I'm not really a big mythology fan, and I think mythology wouldn't mix well with 1930s adventure. So I'm very glad that you aren't a deep thinker.
No, watch what you're saying when you're saying mythology won't work, won't fit in well. I once said, I don't see us having any need for a nude scene. And Paul turns around and writes this whole Indian Sweat Lodge sequence that is, I don't think is at all exploitive or anything, and he just proved me wrong. So he'll prove you wrong on this.
All right, well, I'll go for the ride, but you know what I mean. It's not like you're not hit with it in the first 3 pages, and you know.
Oh no, but I'm just saying Paul's a defiant little bastard.
Yeah.
Now,
plus, they were naked in the sweat lodges, so I thought, well, this is our in lieu of a shower scene.
Right.
But it's not like, I mean, if we wanted to be exploitive, you know, it would be.
Yeah, that wasn't the aim on this at all.
Right.
And I didn't feel that at all. I mean, you almost didn't even, as you read it, I didn't even notice it. I was like, okay, it made sense. Boom, next page. You know. So.
Okay, cool. That's what we were hoping for.
Oh, sure.
You know, you put the heavy shadows on. It's not, you know, trying to be titillating or any of that.
Right.
I would just like to say that I think you somehow tapped into my psyche and wrote and drew this book just to please me. Because
we're doing it to please ourselves.
Well, then
so we're hoping that there's somebody else out there like us.
Well, I think it's a genre that is just totally underused. I mean, I guess in movies, you know, after Indiana Jones, everyone went, well, geez, if we do an adventure story in the 30s, everyone will think we're just trying to rip off Indiana Jones because it kind of set the bar. And so everyone's just kind of more or less left it alone. And so it's like, well, okay, if I can't get it from the movies, where am I going to get it? And I mean, there might be novels out there, but I'm not aware of them. So there's just been this complete void since 1989 when the last indie movie came out. It's like, well, okay, so all these years and I got nothing. So is this all big pent-up thing for me? So it was great to be able to read this and just say, okay, I want this series to go on forever. It could just be like 600 issues. I don't care. I just want to read this. And I never want the characters to age or, you know, move out of the 30s. It's just perfect, you know?
I'm on board for 600.
Well, we got enough plot outlines already for about 600.
Oh, that's good to know.
Well, but, you know, you talk about the Indiana Jones thing, and I want to throw it over to Paul, because I think you really addressed acknowledging that Indy existed, like in the first 12 pages of the book.
Well, yeah, what we were trying to do, I knew that because just judging by movie reviews, anytime anybody reviewed anything that was set in the 30s, it was Indiana Jones. And I'm like, okay, you know, but there was this whole thing going before Indiana Jones. So the opening, I thought, okay, we'll get this out of the way and do like our riffs on Indiana Jones right away. Mm-hmm. And it'd be all just like in our pre-title sequence, like in a Bond film. We'll get that all done. And they can go, oh, yeah, it's like Indiana Jones. But then, hopefully, as you keep reading it, you go, oh, well, they got their own thing going on here. Because there'll be some revelations as it goes on. People have already said, well, that guy's kind of like your stereotypical Nazi. Yeah, pay attention. Keep reading. Things change.
That's good.
That was a teaser there. Nice tease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Was there any influence from like the old Airboy? Because that's what I thought of as soon as I saw the character. I harkened back to the character of Valkyrie from the old Airboy series. I was just wondering if that had any kind of influence on you.
Well, I can't speak for Steve, but I've actually never read an Airboy, so
okay.
I have no idea what they're like at all.
I absolutely loved Airboy, mostly because, you know, big shock here, Dave Stevens covers on some of the first ones.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, a friend of mine introduced me to the Fred Kita Airboy stuff from like the 30s or 40s or whatever. It's beautiful stuff. It wasn't so much consciously there,
mm-hmm.
But I did love, you know, who was drawing it? Stan Walk, and I think Will Bleiberg was inking him on that.
I think so. I know, like, for me, it was more of the Truman stuff when he was with First Comics, when he did some of those. But I think you're right as far as, like, I think he maybe did, like, the first 10 or so.
Yeah, when it was bi-weekly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were beautiful. Was it number 5? I think that had the Stevens cover where Valkyrie's standing over Airboy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I don't. When Paul and I were talking about it, I was. We had both talked about. What's her name in the Phantom?
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Zeta-Jones' character.
Yeah. I see that too.
the costume is probably modified, based on that. Plus, I put in some Mark Schultz Cenozoic Tales looking pouches on her belt and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed Airboy. It just went past my radar screen. I guess at the time I just wasn't paying any attention.
I thought that would have been right up your alley.
I guess I'm going to have to go looking.
So what was why the route that you guys took, going from a webcomic to an actual comic?
Well, we wanted to do, it's kind of coming in the back door, kind of. And plus the webcomic, we didn't have any editorial interference whatsoever. There was nobody to say, well, if you made her breasts bigger, because we actually were told that.
I have a version.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Page 5 with with the inflatables.
Oh, jeez.
And things like, well, nobody's interested in 1930s period stuff. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to do it anyway, and then hopefully we can find a publisher, which is, thanks to Steve, that worked out well.
And not only did it work out well, it garnered you an Eisner Award nominee.
Which was terrific as well, although I couldn't fly down to San Diego. I joke that I'm writing a aviatrix comic, and I'm afraid to fly.
Oh.
My one trip in an airplane was lots of turbulence during a storm, and I kept asking my wife, is it supposed to be like this? She'd just go, no. So I've not flown since.
Steve, were you at the Eisners?
Yeah.
Oh, we were there too. I wish I would have known you then. That would have been nice.
That would have been cool. Actually, my Eisner story, even though we didn't win, it was the coolest night because a really good friend of mine, Jim Heffron, who self-published a book called Territory 51 last year, was up for the Russ Manning Most Promising Newcomer Award. So, we were able to be there and cheer each other on. So it was a lot of fun. And, I mean, granted, I don't know, in terms of Eisner nominations, we're kind of, if you want to use the Academy Award terminology, we're kind of the equivalent of the best short animated documentary film under 10 minutes.
Right.
But, I mean, it's like, what do you call the guy that graduated last in med school? Doctor. It's no matter what our category was, it's still an Eisner nomination, so we're still really, really flattered.
And we got in that year's best graphic novel book, too, which was nice.
I probably don't pimp that quite enough. Byron Price, and what was it, like Tor or HarperCollins or somebody like that?
I got it right here. It's St. Martin's Griffin.
St. Martin's. It was the year's best manga, comics, and graphic novels for 2005. We were in there with, like, Jim Lee's Batman was in there, a whole bunch of other stuff. You've got it in front of you. Help me out here, pal.
It's got Blankets by Craig Thompson, Ex Machina, Princess AI, The Sandman, Age of Bronze, Robot in the Rain.
Some pretty good company.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and they picked some nice strips that Steve did, and it's going to be nice if we eventually get the syndicated strips, or the syndicated strips I call them, the digital strips in a book form.
Right. So you can see how they were all laid out originally?
Yeah. I mean, they look good printed in here, and they're printed smaller than they should have been, but even still, there's like 2 pages, 4 strips, so.
Yeah. Do you guys mind if I hijack this conversation for a second?
Go right ahead.
Okay. Can I pick the CGS Brain Trust for a second, talking about trade paperbacks?
Sure.
Okay. We'd like to do the webcomics, stuff in a collected edition. Does it bother you to have a book bound so it sits vertically on your shelf? So hopefully we'll be able to have other trades up there with it. That you have to turn so that it's horizontal to look at the strips.
For me, no. I loved like my brain is just totally turned off. Liberty Meadows, when he did what he did with that, as far as you had to, he just reprinted the old strips. You had to turn the book sideways to read it. I had no problem with that. So for me, reading it the way it was intended to be read is more important to me than reading it for a comfort level. Comfort as far as holding a book the way you normally do, because you figure the manga people don't worry that you have to read it backwards when they put out the books like that, and people don't seem to complain about that. So I don't think anybody would complain that was enjoying this book that would want to read those to having a little inconvenience of turning it sideways. But that's just me.
So you're saying you would publish it like all the other trades that I own, where holding it in the front, it would look like a regular comic, but then you open it and then you have to flip it upside like.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Like 45. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would rather have it match all the other trades on my shelf than have to. Because if you did it the other way, or it was a long comic and it had just the short binding, and then it would be all down lower than all the rest of my trades. I don't know that.
And it would be sticking out. Yeah.
It wouldn't fit on
about that kind of stuff.
Because some shelves it wouldn't fit on, and
I've got a book here called Bone Sharps, Cowboys, and Thunder Lizards, which has got a nice Bill Stout cover, and you open it up and it's long. It's like getting one of those collected comic strip books. From way back, and it's a nice little package.
Yeah, as Jamie said, I mean, if the strip was meant to be a certain way, and that's the way it reads, if it's more comfortable to the eye and makes the story flow, then that's the way you should present it.
I just think it would be a bit crowded to stack two of them on a page.
Right.
I wanted to get some input on that.
Plus, it's probably cheaper to get it printed up because that's the way the presses are normally run, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to save money and it's going to look good on our shelves, I say go for it.
Well, now hopefully sales will justify that. That would be nice to follow the miniseries up with, a brand new trade.
Well, yeah. What I wanted to ask was, why do you think there was such attention to the strips? Why the Eisner nomination? And I mean, I know the easy answer is because, well, it's good, But I mean, what do you think is missing from people's readership beyond even what we talked about earlier? What do you think garnered that attention?
I don't know. I was going to make a self-deprecating, comment about, there being a short end of the talent pool, but I mean, the other nominees were fantastic, so I can't make that joke,
right?
Because I don't want to insult. I mean, my gosh. Like Kazu, the guy that did Flight, was one of the other nominees, and the winner, Mom's Cancer, was just beautiful. And Les McLean, who's doing The Middleman, was another nominee. So I mean, there were a bunch of good things up there with us. So I know a lot of really good things submitted. I'd have to probably say. Some of those strips had just a real depth to the artwork, and I'm not talking so much on my contribution. I'm not blowing my horn, but there was some stuff that I gave Chad Fiddler to color that totally exceeded my expectations. I felt like the year that we got nominated, we actually were surprising me with some of the panoramic shots. So maybe they weren't expecting Hollywood special effects type of visuals in a webcomic.
Right.
And I credit Chad for that.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not a big web comic guy. Something about it, it doesn't really click for me. But when I was looking through some at some point, I came across yours, and it was the only one that I said, I would like to read this. But was it on a pay site or something?
Yeah, first.
Yeah, we started off on a few different pay sites, all part of a family of sites called Modern Tales. And I think the nice thing about that was, because it was a subscription site, it did give us some credibility. But when the print comic was coming out, we switched it all over to just running on AthenaVoltaire.com, and we're rerunning all those strips, and you have access to the archives without paying for it now. So
Oh, that's cool.
it was nice at the time because, like I said, I think it did give us a little credibility, but I can't really see making much money out of webcomics, so I'd much rather use them as a promotional tool for the print stuff.
Did you have a decent fan base?
We had a bunch of people that posted pretty regularly, and we'd get a lot of hits. It never really amounted to, feeling like, hey, I can quit the day job and do this all the time. But it seemed like there were a decent number of people reading it, and hopefully they're following us into print. But I know that the webcomic people, by and large, the audience for webcomics, I don't think ever really. We weren't what they wanted to read, and print people like you guys and like Paul and me, print people I don't think are all that hip to the webcomic stuff. So we're kind of stuck out on an island.
Well, I saw it as an opportunity to do old-fashioned adventure comic strips, like in the newspapers, because that's where I used to do my most fun stuff. It was like when I was in college. I did 2 different strips when I was in college, and it was the most fun I ever had, drawing stuff, because I had an audience every week, and feedback, and I get to put people in it and bump them off in extravagant ways. I had a blast. So that's what I was trying to do anyway.
I will say one thing on the strip format versus the vertical page format. It was it really forced me to learn some storytelling things, because it's really easy with a strip to just break into 2 tiers of 3 panels each, and it forced me to learn a lot about insets and trying to move the eye around, to be able to have some punch. So it was cool to play in that format.
So I'm actually interested to go back and look at some of that stuff and compare it to what the actual comic is, to see how all that played out.
Now bear in mind it was weekly, so it was a lot more episodic.
Right.
So it's going to read a bit choppier, which was probably the big reason why we wanted to do a news story for print, because I didn't want someone to come out and look at it and say, well, this doesn't flow like a comic. Well, there were extenuating circumstances.
Sure.
So, reading it, just remember that every week was a cliffhanger.
Right. Oh, no, that makes sense. Now, why Speakeasy?
I guess I'm fielding this one, Paul.
Yeah, because
I was talking to everybody.
You've done most of the legwork on that. So
yeah, I'm the used car salesman apparently. But we had submitted to one place for creator-owned stuff, and they weren't interested at the time, and so we sent out a mass submission to pretty much everybody else, and we only had one publisher from the second group, which was half a dozen, maybe 8 publishers of varying sizes. Only one of them said no, which was kind of cool. And then the rest of them, we just kind of looked at all the things they were offering. We were fortunate enough to get a lawyer way back when we were in the webcomic stuff. We have an entertainment lawyer, which is neat. So he was able to look it all over for us, and it looked like Speakeasy would probably be about the best deal. And, I mean, they overprinted and overshipped the first issue, and they've, shown a lot of belief in us. So they've done right by us.
Great.
Have the sales been doing well, from what you know?
From what I know, I just did a signing in Indianapolis this last weekend, and they sold out of it on the Thursday before the signing. Huh. And they contacted Diamond, and Diamond said it was back-ordered, which meant it was sold out at Diamond.
Fantastic.
So I'm not really sure how many Speakeasy has. I've sent a couple of emails, but I know that, they're coordinating some other stuff, so I haven't heard back yet, but we may be sold out. I don't know yet.
Well, that would be great. I mean, that's a good sign for the future.
It's kind of cool if we did sell out, because, it's decent for a character you've never heard of by a bunch of creators you've never heard of from a small publisher. No, that's not too bad.
And a period piece.
Yeah, and a period piece.
Hey, any comic with Nazis on the front, you're going to get sales.
Except in Germany, apparently.
Well,
Yeah,
that was
not
a big
available.
surprise. I thought it was a joke.
Huh.
But apparently,
wait. So there were no orders in Germany? Seriously? Or
you can't. Apparently, you can't
It's
depict.
against the law.
It's against the law. So.
Huh.
I thought that was a joke at the bottom of in the previews book that's not available in Germany. I thought, that's a joke. And then Steve tells me, nope, that's not the story.
Wait, is that true for like movies and everything?
Well, I was curious about that too because I thought, well, did the Indiana Jones movies play there? I don't know.
Well, they did what they did in the Captain America movie. They made them all Italian.
Well,
I kid.
I think we have a
Italian
couple
Red Skull.
German listeners. Please let us know. Send us an email if that's really the case. That's interesting.
And by the way, if we do have German listeners listening, trust us, we're not casting all the Germans as Nazis. There's the whole thing that takes place on the boat with the admiral, and he's obviously not liking what Hitler does. So, I just don't want anybody to think that we're characterizing all the Germans as crazed.
Well, I got a sense of that. There was something else going on with some of them.
And there'll be more to come. On
Right,
that.
as you said.
So, Steve, I'd like to comment that on your artwork, and I think I can only speak for myself, but maybe what made it stand out on the shelves from the rest of the independents is, the artwork in this is really, really good, and a lot of times in independents you have mediocre level artwork because they're guys just starting out and they have to have some practice before they polish their style. But your stuff certainly seems to be quite polished already. So I just want to compliment you on it, and I think it just fits perfectly with the style of book that you're doing, and I think it's great.
Thanks. Again, I think that Chad and Kevin Volo, who's also doing some of the coloring, and we're going to have another friend, Jason Millay, pitching in later on. I'm really fortunate that I've got guys that don't butcher my stuff when they color it. They actually add to it because, there are some people who just throw a bunch of filters on stuff and call it colored, but these guys all really painstakingly try to make it big, and I'm fortunate for that. But I mean, really, it's also probably just the right subject matter for me. I had done superhero samples, and much like like when Sal was on the show talking to you about not being able to break into Marvel and DC, my stuff wasn't appropriate for that. So it's kind of tailored around what Steve likes to draw, and Paul's really good at writing stuff that Steve likes to draw.
Well, I'm interested to see, when the miniseries has wrapped up, and if you don't start getting any calls or emails from any other companies, and in a way, I hope you do because I think you deserve it. But in a way, I hope you don't because I want you to keep drawing Athena Voltaire.
Well, I mean, right now I'm working a day job that's it's an hour commute each way. So even if I picked up real work in comics, I don't think it would keep me any busier than my 10-hour days as it is. So I still want to make time for this.
Well, that's good to hear.
Is there a convention that you two guys are going to be at together at all?
Chicago.
Oh,
You're
okay.
doing Chicago again?
Well, yeah.
Good.
Well,
I had a great time there last year, even though I didn't spend much time at the table.
Yeah, we're gonna cut your hamstring so you can't leave.
Oh, but I had so much fun.
Yeah, that's good. We're looking forward to going out there, and I know we have a lot of listeners out in Chicago, so that's great that you're going to both be there.
Now, are you guys doing Charlotte or not? Because I've heard so many good things about the Heroes Con, but I don't know if there's any space available. Anybody know?
I don't know about space. I know it's there's just lists and lists of people that are heading down there. I mean, we're going down. Most of us are going down there, I should say, because it sounds like a great convention.
Oh yeah. Well, it sounded great before, and then when Wizard tried to steamroll them, everybody kind of did the whole solidarity thing.
Right.
And I've had a couple people tell me I should try to make it to that. I'd be driving, Paul, if you want to come. No planes.
Ain't getting me on no plane.
What are you, tattoo now, Jamie?
No, that was my feeble attempt at a Mr. T.
And we also have to thank you for the incredible piece, the Wonder Woman piece that you did that we're using as one of the prizes for. Well, it's one of the prizes, but it's I think the most sought after prize.
Centerpiece.
Yeah, to the scavenger hunt that we're doing.
I want the Modesty Blaze book, to be quite honest, but I know that I can't enter. But okay, when we were emailing back and forth, I think I was talking to Peter.
Yeah.
About this, and let me get onto a soapbox for you guys here for a second. Okay. Not just because of what you have done for our book, but well, I mean, my gosh, looking at the forum postings after episode 108, which is the one I listened to today. That's why I keep referring to Sal. All the people saying, I'm going to go buy this book. Not only for what you're doing for the little guys, but all the people that I have heard you guys reading emails from of people saying, I quit comics back in the 90s when they all turned to crap, or I was in on the speculator phase, and all these people seem to have rediscovered comics through you, through iTunes. And that's powerful. That's great, and I just like to be able to help you guys out, because I think what you're doing is important, and it's good for comics. So that's my soapbox.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, it's from the heart. I mean it. I just think what you guys are doing is important. You know how Wizard kind of grew out of the whole speculator phase, and you guys are growing out of the thing that we have with podcasts, where I know where I work, I can't listen to streams because I was listening to sports radio all day, and so that's when I started seeking out podcasts. And to people that had peripherally been interested in comics, they can't stream at work. They download one show, and a couple weeks later, you're sending them back into their local shop. That's great. So, okay, I'm done sucking up. Next topic.
Well, it makes it easier when you have comics that have good story and have good art, and that is what Athena Voltaire has. I mean, it makes our quote unquote job a little easier to talk about comics like this, because we don't want to. We always talk about it. We'd rather celebrate comics and celebrate the good and why we enjoy all this stuff and why we still read it at age 30 and 33 and 38 and 26. I mean, otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't reading comics. I'd be very bored.
I think we're older than all these guys, Paul.
I'm afraid so. I know I am, unfortunately.
That's okay.
I just think what you're talking about, celebrating comics. I mean, my gosh, on message boards, people in their signatures say things like, "If it sucks, I'll let you know."
Yeah.
How about if it's good, I'll let you know?
Right.
Exactly.
I know it's hip to be cynical and jaded, and you're never let down that way. But I just don't want to go through life that way. I want to enjoy my entertainment.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
That's my grumpy old man speech today.
Well, I mean, we feel the same way, because that's why we do the show the way we do it, because there's a lot of good stuff out there, and let's enjoy it.
Right.
That's. I mean, I'm finding there's so much good stuff. I can't read it all. My pile is overwhelming, and there's so much I didn't even buy. So why am I gonna dwell on the few things that aren't any good when there's just an unending supply of things that are fantastic? So I'd rather just look at that.
Oh yeah, and I like doing things like your Book of the Month club. Now I'm hooked on Fables, and that's just great stuff.
Yeah, you and me both, my friend. Curse you, Jamie.
No, thank you, Jamie.
I say I'm smiling my ass off here. No, I'm always of the school of if you don't have anything good to say about something or someone, don't say it. So that's why when you hear me say, and hopefully people who have listened long enough realize that if you hear me say it's good, I mean it. I'm not just blowing smoke up anybody's ass. And Athena Voltaire, it just what Brian said. It hit all the points for me. 30s Nazis, swashbuckling chick throwing in Casablanca references. I kind of picked up a few of those. Anthony Hopkins as the bad guy.
I saw that too.
That was a little more obvious than I wanted. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I realize that. But it just, I'm looking for, I mean, I had ordered it, and you sent us these copies, which I thought was great, and I thank you very much for them. But, it had been enough for me to actually order it, and now I'm looking forward to the second one and the third one, and telling, anybody and everybody who'll listen at the shop to definitely pick these up and give them a shot.
Well, thanks very much. Now, did you get the preview to number 2 that I sent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Peter showed it to me like right before we went on. I looked a little bit of it, and I saw the Peter Lorre and.
Yeah, okay, I was going to ask if you saw any Easter eggs there.
Yes, yeah. I saw. Because, well, as soon as you said Johnny Cairo, I was like, okay, now it's either going to be Humphrey Bogart, Peter Lorre, or Sidney Greenstreet will be popping up. I'm wondering if Sidney Greenstreet will be popping up at the Blue Parrot. As soon as I saw that, I was like,
Actually, no, but Sidney Greenstreet as a character named Mr. Ferrani appeared in, not Ferrari, appeared in the first web arc.
Oh, okay.
So, check out the archives.
Okay.
Because, Paul put him in there.
Can I tell him that Nathan Kairos is Joel Kairos' brother?
Really?
From a book that also deals with a falcon crafted in Malta.
Well, yeah, I saw that too. I was like, Yeah, the eagle, and I was like, okay, now if this suddenly becomes a black painted statue somewhere along the lines.
Bear in mind, in that original story, that wasn't the real bird. So ours is the story of what happened to the real bird.
Okay, cool. That's actually, I'm going to tell that to a buddy of mine who loves those, and I know that's going to sell it to him right away.
Are you talking about Scott?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Scott. Well, a friend of mine turned me on to Bogart and Maltese Falcon and all those. And as soon as I tell him this, I think he would have picked it up anyway, but I know he's going to go for it now.
Cool. Well, there's a couple of Humphrey Bogart movies that people don't know about, and it's kind of where I want Athena to go. We've got there's a movie called Across the Pacific and All Through the Night, and they're not as well known, but they're fantastic.
Okay.
If you get a chance, watch those, especially Across the Pacific, because Sidney Greenstreet's in there, and so's Peter Lorre, and it's fantastic. John Huston directed it, and it's little known, but it's more of an adventure piece as opposed to a private eye thing.
Well, with all four of those people involved, they can't go wrong.
Oh, it's really tons of fun.
Now, can you guys see why, when I thought who would be good to help me put this together, that I instantly went to Paul?
Yeah.
I mean, he knows all this stuff.
Yeah. I think the only Bogart movie I've ever seen is Petrified Forest, and that's not even in anybody's top favorite list. I've
never seen that.
I've seen it, but it was a long time ago. And is that the one where they're like in a bar or a tavern or a roadside thing through part of it?
Yeah, it's something like he comes and has a dinner with some woman, and
it's him and Betty Davis, isn't it? I think she's in it. For some reason, that Betty Davis clicked into my brain when he said Petrified Forest.
Well, All Through the Night is a comedy, so it's like Guys and Dolls with Nazis in it.
I swear to God. Name, Guys and Dolls and Nazis.
Guys and Dolls and Nazis. They're trying to blow up ships in the New York harbor, and all these kind of Damon Runyon type characters that are like, hey, these Nazis are doing this stuff. We got to stop them. And every character actor in the world's in it. And again, Peter Lorre's in that.
I'm still fixating on Guys and Dolls and Nazis.
Well, that's the best way to describe it.
Sam Jackson's got a movie coming out called Snakes on a Plane, and I think Guys and Dolls and Nazis is right up there with it.
Hey, that can always be an Athena Voltaire title. We'll have to work on that.
There you go. Your
That's
next miniseries.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Shanghai, maybe.
Ooh.
Giving him thoughts.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Story inspiration by.
So now I've seen this solicited monthly, so everything on track schedule-wise?
To the best of my knowledge, I uploaded issue 2 a while back. And the big concern, and it's not really a concern, but there was a publisher, not a publisher, a printer called Lamppost that was doing a lot of stuff for like Speakeasy and Alias and a lot of the smaller companies. And that company has ceased publishing, not publishing, but printing comics. So now everybody is back at Quebecor in Canada. Now, of course, Quebecor publishes Marvel and DC and, you know, all the major stuff. So I think that if anybody ever feels a hit from, you know, deadline problems at Quebecor, it's going to be your smaller publishers. So it's on track, but if it slips a week or two, it's probably just because, you know, they've got to go with the people that pay their bills the best. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
I'd like to throw in a plug for the Terranauts, if I may.
Go right ahead.
Our website, we're still running new material. It's terranautscomics.com. And hopefully one day those will get collected. And in the meantime, I'm on the backup working my derriere off here. So I don't know what you guys thought of that, but we're hoping to do stuff with the Terranauts. The first issue of Terranauts came out in the 80s, so it was almost to the date when Athena Voltaire came out. 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I should probably mention real quick, we in lieu of putting in a bunch of ads in the back, Paul and his Terranauts co-creator Don were gracious enough to create extra content for the book, so we don't have like 8-10 pages of ads in the back. We're kind of shooting for a feel like. Did any of you guys read when the Legend books launched from Dark Horse?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them. The Legend line.
Yeah. When like Hellboy was had a backup of Art Adams, Monkey Man, and O'Brien,
right,
and stuff like that, and it was just great because you get 30 pages of story in one book. So that's kind of the thing we're shooting for, is that kind of feel.
I love the Lovecraft. Mentioned, well, not mentioned, but the Arkham, the Miskatonic University, and the guy who looks exactly like Lovecraft sitting at the desk with the phone. That's a nice touch.
Oh, does he look like Lovecraft? Really?
Oh, yeah, the guy with the bow tie. I thought it was just supposed to be Lovecraft himself.
Actually, I thought so too.
No, actually, it's supposed to be Bela Lugosi. But hey, if it's H.P. Lovecraft, that's fine.
Well, you never saw them in the same room together, so you never.
Yeah,
know.
there you go.
I got a real Challengers of the Unknown meets Losers meets
Sea Devils.
Sea Devils, yeah. There was like a nice mixture of all those, 4-character adventure teams.
Great, because that's exactly what we want.
Good.
My favorite scene in there is when they're kind of introducing all the members of the team. I just love the the pilot and captain with the hat. And the guys are smoking pipes, and it's just so much of the period. So. I like reading it.
Well, eventually we're going to start up another character. We're going to have all these interconnected.
Can I just mention the lettering in the Terranauts is spectacular?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Since you did it.
It's gorgeous. It just sings.
You're a man of many talents, huh?
Yeah.
I'm an ass.
You didn't get credited on it, so now's the time.
Yeah, but since I'm the guy that set up the title page, if I didn't get credited, it's my own fault.
Yeah.
How did that slip happen?
What? Oh, well, I mean, it's not like I made up the fonts. We bought Blambot fonts. If anybody really deserves credit, it's Blambot. What? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name.
I can't help you.
Jamie, you've got to know this. You know everything.
No,
I've spoken to him at shows in the past, but I don't remember.
I could say it on any other moment, but right now I'm coming up blank. But they have fantastic free fonts, and we bought a few. And I mentioned the lettering as a joke, but he designs Nate Picos. He designs the fonts, so that's really what a letterer does. I'm just kind of dropping them in.
Okay.
I don't know. Did we hit everybody though, Paul?
I think so. Thompson
Knox is helping out with the colors, so we have on colors Chad Fiddler, Kevin Volo, Jason Millay and Thompson Knox, and then Paul's Terranauts creator is Don Seacrease.
And then edited by Park Cooper.
Yeah. I should also mention Park. He and his wife Barb Leon Cooper. Barb was one of the original sequential tarts.
Okay.
And, they both write together, and Park has been generous enough to, catch most of my typos. I feel bad for him because I send him stuff at the last minute and say, "Okay, I've got to, upload this in 10 minutes. What do you think?"
Oh.
And he's worked wonders. So they've all just been. We work with a lot of really great people, so it's really cool.
Well, it's an impressive package. It's an impressive story and art, and I know the forum interest has been very high, and we can just only wish you the best as the series continues.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
You bet. And I appreciate that you like. I mean, we were trying to make a book that would be fun for us to do, and as long as that's kind of being carried over to you guys, that's.
Well, I can remember Brian mentioning the web strip, even before we knew Steve or knew that it was even going to come out as a comic. And I think you even said,
I said I wish it was a comic because I want to buy this.
It's like in one of our first 10 episodes, probably.
Yeah, very, very early on.
Well, I know that you got to wrap it up pretty quick here, and we keep having good moments of wrapping it up, and then, I'm like Tangent Boy, but can I ask, how on earth did you guys choose us for the Indie Challenge, along with Marlene from Peter, I can't pronounce his last name.
Snyder. Mm-hmm.
How did you come across choosing us?
Was it because it probably was because Brian mentioned it? You guys noticed that it was an Eisner nominee.
Then the Eisner, we had noticed that, and that's where the rest is history.
It had a nice ad in previews, and we were like, hey, let's choose that. So it looked interesting.
Well, more to come.
I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Sure.
Now, one quick question: is it 5 or 6 issue miniseries?
It is 5.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And we're just finding out the last issue. Cover-to-cover content. The Athena story is going to run 24 pages in that issue, and the Terranauts are going to run 8.
Yeah, because I can't wrap this story up in 6 pages. I had too much going on at the finale here, and it's like, I need just a couple more pages to make this work.
And I hope it doesn't feel padded, but I do like to really, punch the hell out of an establishing shot on these, especially when, the guys can do such a good job with the coloring.
Right.
So I hope that, when we add in a full-page shot to show Hong Kong Harbor or whatever, that it doesn't feel like, oh man, these guys are doing decompressed storytelling. Or
no, that's a nod to the movies and all that, or even, some old pulp magazines. You got to establish your shot.
Well, and it's adventure.
Yeah.
And adventure is big,
Yep.
and that means big shots. Once in a while at least. If every page was a splash page, but if it's just 1 or 2, that's perfect.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure because, if I was doing these for, like, resale, you'd have all kinds of, cheesecakey shots and stuff like that, but, the full-page shots are like Machu Picchu and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's
And there'll be a big epic battle coming that Steve probably hates me for writing, but...
Oh, the mini battles are killing me. I can't even imagine the big one. God.
You're going to have to.
Paul, I got to tell you, I love the geography usage. I'm a big geography fiend. I love everything about geography, and so seeing all these different places and recognizing all this different landscape and everything is just really fun for me. So,
well, that's
I
the other
appreciate
thing
it.
we wanted to make sure was a globe-trotting. In the 30s, that's when I got all these books and stuff about how they were traveling by Zeppelin and different different expeditions. I mean, we got stuff coming up if we ever get to it. It's like, boy, this is going to be fun. We're going to take them here, and then we'll take them here. And I keep reading all this weird Nazi mythology that I'm like, wow, did this really happen? Even if it didn't, it sounds great. So.
Yeah, well, I'm going to put your email address on the website because I'm the one that gets the letters from the Hollow Earth people.
Well, I didn't know anybody else knew about it, but apparently
there are people that believe it, man.
Hey, on the Coast to Coast radio show, there's a guy setting up an expedition.
Oh, jeez.
I honest to God, they're going to the Arctic. And okay.
I still don't know what blows me away more, that people do that or that you listen to it.
I got nothing else to listen to late at night.
Research, baby.
Hey, when I saw that, I actually found a book at a book sale about the Hollow Earth, and I picked it. It was like 25 cents. I picked it up, and I have yet to really go through it. But as soon as I saw that mention, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go dig that book out and look at it now.
Hey, bring it with you. You're doing some of the cons this summer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, bring it with you.
Okay.
If you're going to be at Chicago or San Diego. Are you going to San Diego this year?
Definitely going to San Diego.
Okay, cool. Bring it.
Cool. Yeah, Brian just put up he found a shot of Lovecraft, and we're comparing the two, and it's a dead-on comparison.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear to you guys that I was using. I wanted to make that character because he'll show up later on again. Bela Lugosi. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, in the picture that I even pulled up, he's got a bow tie on with the same kind of collar and the suit with the vest. It's like
and even the same like expression on his face too.
Wow.
You were channeling him.
You guys haven't been.
That's scary, but sure, why not?
You guys haven't been like calling on Cthulhu, have you?
Nope.
This week?
I've been drawing those critters, but that's about it.
So that's why the book's successful.
That's right. But they're all going to go insane.
That's right.
Go.
As long
Disclaimer: no.
As long as you sell the books.
No, I said go.
Go.
Right.
We're already there.
Oh, okay.
Deadlines will do that to you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the absolute best of luck.
Thank you very much, and thanks for letting us run over time.
Oh, there's no time limit.
Time. No, there's no time.
There is no concept of time on this.
Well, that's good. I like that.
So now, Paul, you can add us to your listening schedule late at night.
Well, I won't tell him how computer illiterate I am. All right.
I'll send his wife the URL. She'll download them.
There you go.
There you
He
go.
does
Very
all
good.
that for me.
But okay, cool.
Great. Thank
Okay,
you so
guys.
much.
Yep, thanks.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Okay. Thanks
too.
very much.
Take
All
care.
right.
Okay,
See ya.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I would love for them to get a hold of like Dave Stevens and try to get a pinup or something. That would be
Yeah,
really
because
nice.
that's right on to what he did, and
Yeah.
it would look really cool.
You know,
Athena Voltaire meets the Rocketeer.
I was just going to mention that I finally saw that movie about a couple weeks back, and it was on In Demand for free. And I said, all right, I gotta watch this movie. Everybody keeps talking about
The
it.
fact that it's taking you this long to watch,
I know. Well, first of all, it has Jennifer Connelly in it, so there should be
Yes.
no reason why I haven't
got
seen
that
it.
right. And she is smoking hot in that movie.
That movie, you talk about this kind of adventure tale, and I know it's not set in that this kind of setting, but the adventure factor is so high in that movie, and I went, "This is Disney," and not to slight Disney, but it didn't have any of that like surfacey gloss to it. It was
So
an honest,
cutesy, sugar-coated stuff.
and even for the time that the special effects were, the first time he puts on the pack and he takes off when the clown guy he takes the plane, and he cuts off the jets and he does that little somersault and then kicks them back on. You can see that it's green screened or whatever, but it still worked. And I actually was like, whoa, that movie is phenomenal. It's just phenomenal.
I just find it hard to believe that there's not a market for adventure-based stuff.
Yeah.
Not current day, anytime in the past, whether it's the 60s, the 50s, whatever, the 30s, or the 1870s. There's adventure is a great genre. I don't understand why they don't do more of it.
But, I mean, just look at the box office, unfortunately, of some of the attempts at that. I mean, The Rocketeer didn't do great. I mean, it got better as the tapes and that came out, as far as
Like
being a more cult hit movie. Two movies I love. I still love them. I love The Shadow. Again, 30s, adventure, not quite as high adventure.
And then the Phantom.
And the Phantom, which is, oh my God, I came out of that Phantom movie. I told everybody I knew about it, go see the Phantom. Great movie, great action. Yeah, some over-the-top acting by Treat Williams, but you wanted the bad guy to be over the top. That's the first time I noticed Catherine Zeta-Jones. Hubba hubba.
Yep.
And I guess this was Christy Swanson. She was a hero,
I don't remember.
I think. And just a great performance by Billy Zane as the Phantom. Patrick McGowan, for all you Prisoner fans out there, as his father. Just a great, but it didn't go over well in the box office. So if you want this stuff and you like it, you
Now
got
the
to go out
Mummy
and
did.
support
The
it.
two Mummy
I was just
movies
gonna
were
say.
huge hits.
Yeah.
So,
But they didn't spawn any kind of like on real lasting franchise like Indiana Jones.
right. Well,
So-
I mean, yeah.
Why do you? I mean, was it because it was the Mummy that was more appealing? And I mean, we got the Rock, or not the Rock. What the heck was that movie?
The Scorpion King.
Scorpion
Yeah.
King, yeah.
So I mean, those were like the last. What just came out? That Sahara movie. But
That was
that was
modern
current
day,
time,
and that's
modern
based
day.
on the books.
The Dirk Pitt novels.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's really not a lot out there as far as that. The old serial, Saturday morning serial.
And this is, I mean, it's perfect material for a comic book because it's just, it's pretend, it's I don't know, it just seems like a perfect fit.
Got good guys, you got bad guys.
Well, if you think about it, this is where comics started.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, comic strips and then comic pulps, I should say, and then
right.
superheroes.
I don't know. I hope it's successful for my own greedy wishes. I just want to read more of it. I really do. It's missing. I get there's so much good superhero stuff, and I love it all, but this is what's missing for me.
Right.
And it's just
Well, Sapolsky said, there should be more. There should be a wide variety of genres in comics. It shouldn't be just superhero dominated. And when we know from our own forum that we have people who don't like the superhero stuff.
exactly more people than I would have thought.
Yeah, and so now here's I guess here's your chance to kind of support this and show the comics like the publishers that this stuff can exist.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I know they don't want to talk about it, but I'd be curious to know what other companies were interested because I'd like to know if Image was interested because this seems like it could be a successful Image book.
Yeah.
And in a way, I kind of wish it was because it would have gotten more publicity. When you're flipping through previews and it's right in the front in the image section with a full page ad, for every
Speakeasy, though, when Speakeasy put their first initial push out in previews, they had a couple pages worth of stuff, and
Yeah,
it was like, whoa, okay.
They're
But
definitely
it's
behind their books. I mean, it's
I'm not saying they're not.
No.
For them. It wasn't one of those where it was just maybe a quarter page ad of it. Speakeasy did like full page ads of all of their books, like one page. It was like either one page or
They
half a
split
page
them in half and half.
The problem is
of each book.
they're
Yeah,
in
no,
the
I
further
know
in.
because
Yeah.
before I started doing this show, I stopped at the end of the big publishers. I didn't look at any of the independent stuff.
Right.
I just never did. I didn't have an interest in it or didn't want to do the research to find out what was good. So as far as I was concerned, the rest of that previews didn't even exist. So that's what I mean. Like, I saw all the image books,
Yeah, true.
but I never would have gotten a Speakeasy. So,
Right.
I'm sure there are other people who were like me, or who are like the way I was, or
Right.
I think that's one of the things that's good about our indie challenge is the fact that we want people to start looking past, Wizard when it comes to the previews, and because there's a whole world out there of really good stuff, and people struggling. I mean, these guys aren't doing this for a living. They're doing other stuff to pay the bills. This is they're doing for the love of it.
So we got a few things in the mail that we should give some thank yous for. I got the first package delivered to Brian Deemer's baby. It's from Bill Beechler. It goes by Doc Beechler on the forum, and
The infamous my Uncle Scrooge nemesis.
yes, exactly.
No, just kidding.
He sent two things from Zazzle, 2 shirts, a little for little tiny baby, one with a cover of Hulk on it, and then one with Donald Duck on it. So, Bill, I really appreciate that, and Tasha really appreciated that as well. She had a big smile on her face when I showed her.
I think that's great for a baby. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
And then from Jedi Master X, he sent us a whole bunch of versus cards from Upper Deck so that we can add to the ones that we have and play a more realistic game with a variety of cards, cool. And some Pirates cards in there as well. So we appreciate that. And then we got this enormous box of comics and trades from Scott Gucka. I think I'm gonna guess that looks German, so I'm pronouncing it as if it was German.
There you
So
go.
Scott Gucca.
So if you're Italian, he just gave you another.
Well, there aren't
ethnicity.
K's in Italian, so
I know. I'm just kidding.
But it was a fantastic selection of comics, and Yeah, Peter wrote them all down already.
He's inventoried them and
the Captain Britain Alan Moore, Alan Davis trade is prime reading. I can't wait to read that. He gave us some Doctor Strange essentials. He gave us 2 She-Hulk trade paperbacks,
Yeah,
the Dan Slott stuff. So I know we were talking about
the
them.
first 2.
So there are a lot of listeners out there who've been dying for us to read that stuff. So we'll get to that. A great run of Savage Dragon from like around 63 to 119. And again, a nice chunk that we can probably all devour and hopefully get like a nice character spotlight out of it. What else was there? A huge chunk of Flash, like the first 5 issues of Losers, some issues of Bone,
The Defenders Essentials.
Yep, some Ex Machina. Trying to look at the ones that there was. Some I already said Losers. Nocturnals 1 through 6. Some Keith Giffen's Suicide Squad, Supreme Power. I mean, it's just.
That Red Rocket.
Oh, Red Rocket 7, yeah, from Mike Allred.
Yeah, Mike Allred.
7 issues of that. Just some great stuff. And thank you so much. I mean, that's gonna it's gonna add to my knowledge anyway. So I can't wait to read
More crap to read.
Yeah, exciting. So thanks.
It was so big. There was a big sticker on it that says, "Heavy parcel. Be careful lifting." Like, oh my gosh.
That's cool.
Give yourself a hernia.
Wow. So what else? Oh, I guess I should.
Get a Stump the Rios.
Yeah, I should do some Stump the Rios.
Stump Dalios.
For anyone wondering, it is Monday, and you're probably all going, "Well, where's the New York wrap up?" It'll be here.
Give us a couple days to get back and get back into the real world.
Yep.
This one is from, excuse me, this one's from Sean Whelan, and it's an audio Stump the Rios, so I'm just going to let it come in a few seconds here. I honestly, honest to God, cannot tell you how excited I am about this freaking Athena Voltaire book. Like, I'm totally not, like, kissing his ass or anything because he's a fan and he posts on the forum or anything. I love it. I was so excited when we got the free copies. I mean, I ordered it, but I was like, oh, I get to read it, 2 weeks earlier than my shipment comes. Oh.
And we got the preview pages for issue 2.
Yeah, it's so great. Oh. I hope our readers, I hope our listeners are buying that book. I hope so.
Yeah, so definitely support the Indie Challenge. It's on the news page. The ones for this month are marked down for 45%. And Athena Voltaire was an Indie Challenge from December, I want to say. But support all that because, number one, they're cheap. They're cheap to buy. And two, that's our point. It's almost like Book of the Month, where we do a Book of the Month and we want your input. Well, for the Indie Challenge, it's not just to highlight these books on our end. We also want you guys to go out there and support them with your dollar and show that this stuff the little guys can put out great stuff too. I mean, we're trying to educate ourselves, I think, a lot through the Indie Challenge as well.
Absolutely. All right. Here's Sean's Stump the Rios.
Hey guys, Sean Whalen here, Dr. Norge on the forum with my first attempt at an audio Stump the Rios. It's kind of funny, when I told my wife what I was going to record, she said, "Stump the what?" She took our kitten and left the room shaking her head. I'm not sure why she felt the need to take our kitten. Maybe she felt some comic geek germ would rub off onto her. Anyways, I can't complain too much because I thank God for all those promises about sickness and in health, because she did just let me get one of those Shakespeare bust replicas from the Batman 60s TV show from my office.
Cool.
If you're on the fence about getting this thing, it's awesome. So I can't really complain too much.
Uh-oh, Jamie.
After all, I did need it, right?
Yes.
Well, it might be the sickness part. Anyways, on to the trivia. I did break it up into 3 different categories. I did 1 DC, 1 Marvel. I did do 2 indie questions, mainly because I'm figuring my first one might get overruled as unfair, so I threw in a second one just in case to keep it running. For DC, I chose a trivia question from Green Arrow Longbow Hunters. Just because mainly it's great stuff from Mike Grell. I'm assuming Peter probably read it, but I want to throw it out there anyway, and I'm almost positive it's still traded. At the end of book 1, a reoccurring character is introduced who kills the Seattle slasher and a passing motorist. Who is this character?
Shadow.
Look at this. We got
Okay,
thinking
I know this one might be easy if you were a fan of the series, but like I said, I'm throwing it out there anyway because I think the series needs some attention again. Shadow, S-H-A-D-O, was introduced in the Longbow Hunters and later went on to appear semi-regularly in the Green Arrow series, all of which is very worth seeking out.
She had her own 4-issue miniseries, too.
Yep.
For Marvel, I'm a devoted DC fan, but always love a good read, and Marvel certainly has had plenty of those over the years and currently. One of my favorite Marvel series, which is a little bit more obscure, was Doctor Who. This started as a 4-issue run in Marvel Premiere, and due to popularity led to its own series, which ran 18 issues. These were reprints of great stories from Marvel UK and featured a great deal of Dave Gibbons' art. Fans of his work should check it out. Panini Comics recently published 2 or maybe 3 now trade reprints of the work. My question, which isn't too difficult if you read it or even if you saw the TV series, but totally understandable if you never saw any of it. What is the name of the time machine that the Doctor travels in with his companions?
Jamie.
You don't. TARDIS.
The time machine that he travels in with his companions is called the TARDIS. Interesting fact about it. It's shaped like a blue police box because the circuit that allows it to change to match its surroundings broke in 1960s London. All right, as I said for my indie questions, I did give you 2 of them just because I'm thinking the first one might get overruled. Great series, though, and I want to give it some props anyway. Dave Boswell created the hysterical Reed Fleming World's Toughest Milkman in the 80s and 90s. It is still available for trade if anyone missed it from DeepSeaComics.com. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there. I don't work for Dave. I just love the book, and he was kind enough to send me a signed comic for my wall, so I need to give the fella some props. The lead character was a very bald, although he claimed he combed it that way, angry milkman who lived to annoy his boss, smash up milk trucks, and rush home to watch Dangers of Ivan when he was supposed to be working. Reed was also quite the ladies' man. Reed has a catchphrase that he uses throughout his books whenever talking to others. What is it?
Boy, I read some of those issues, but I don't remember.
What you talking about, Willis?
Reed would affectionately say, or maybe not so affectionately, I thought I told you to shut up. Like I said, may be deemed unfair, and I completely accept that because it's a rather obscure title, so I have another, but I did get my cheap plug-in for Reed anyway.
That's fair.
All right, if that was deemed unfair, another favorite of mine and definitely more popular is Strangers in Paradise. This one might be rather easy if the other one was unfair. Francine, David, and Katina are the main characters in this fantastic drama. What are their last names?
I haven't read enough to even answer that.
Oh, okay. David is Parker. Katina is Chuvansky. And Francine, I am drawing a blank on right now.
Is that Kachu?
Yeah, it's Kachu.
So what's...
It's Katina Chuvansky, and they call it Kachu.
Oh, okay. I thought that.
Francine... I kick myself because I love that series. I've been touting it for so long, but I cannot remember Francine's last name.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
The names of the characters are Francine Peters, David Quinn, and
Quinn,
I might be butchering it, so I'm going to spell it out. It's Q-I-N.
Okay.
And Katina Chuvansky. Well, Peter, if I didn't stump you, I'm not the least bit surprised because I'm always amazed by how many obscure comic facts that you know. But I do hope I made this at least some fun and that the questions were fair and interesting. I saw on the forum that you made a call for some questions and hope this not only proved interesting but gave the listeners some books to check out. Thanks for the time, guys, and the fantastic work that you do. This has always been fun. I'm looking forward to being a long-time listener.
Cool. Thanks for participating.
I'm putting a quarter in for that last one because as much as I love Strangers in Paradise, I should have gotten
I'll take the
David's last name because his sister was Parker, so I was thinking that was Darcy Parker. I was thinking it was Parker, but you're right. They were half brother and sister.
So I got 1.
That's better than none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You have a voicemail you can pop up?
I was thinking we could do
Call Me. Yeah, we haven't done that.
Call me. On the line.
Let me find someone here.
Call me.
I'll tell you who we're calling here.
Anytime.
We're calling Vince.
Oh, nice. Vince B. This is your last couple days to get into the scavenger hunt. Just a couple more days. The softcover Crisis trade, softcover Modesty Blaze, oversized trade, guest spot on the show, Mirror Mask CD, Athena Wonder Woman drawing by Steve Bryant. So, a couple more days. Get it in. Scavenger hunt. It's on the contest page.
Cool.
Check it out. And your choice of either an Aquaman or Flash. Alex Ross poster.
More talking softly.
Okay.
Blah, 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 blah.
Hello.
Hello, Vince.
Sorry, none of us could reach the phone.
Oh.
Please leave your name, your number, and a brief message.
Fooled by Vince.
Thank you very
Maybe he'll
much.
pick up.
Bye-bye.
If it's not a cell phone.
Are you screening your calls?
Come on, pick up.
If you are, you made a big mistake.
Everyone wants to hear your voice again. Your melodious voice.
Come on, Sammy.
Come on, Candyman, pick up.
Do we have Marty's phone number? We should call Marty. If we
Yeah,
can't get a hold
I
of
don't know.
Vince,
Let me
we'll
see.
call Marty.
That would be funny.
He'll be so mad. And then Marty will go to work tomorrow.
I was on the show.
You weren't.
You weren't. They'll hit him with something.
I don't know.
No, Marty didn't put his number in. You do a search for Marty.
I don't think I have Marty's.
This is great. We're filling up his entire
That's right. We're just going to keep
okay.
talking.
machine.
No, I have a different. No, I don't have Marty's phone number.
I guess he doesn't want to talk on this show.
Oh, well. All right, Vince.
You blew it.
Yeah, that's right. Bye. All right, we can find another one. Did we?
Maybe as an early bedtime.
I would hope 7:30 isn't. I mean, good Lord, I like to get good night's sleep too, but 7:30.
Let's see here. Hey, what about Tom Caters?
Okay. If you want to be called, send us your phone number, your name, and your location. comicgeekspeak@gmail.com.
And then sit by the phone because, damn it, we want to talk to some of these people. Some of you people, I should say. Here we go again.
What's with people? Doesn't anybody go home anymore?
I'm not answering my phone right now, so if you leave a message, I'll give you a call back as soon as possible. Thanks.
To page this person, press 5 now. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1
Everyone
for more
knows that.
options.
Hey.
You're not answering your phone right now. Oh.
Yeah, and you're not calling us back, biatch. We're putting you at the bottom of the list.
You blew your chance, pal.
We're in a silly mood tonight. Don't mind us, Tom.
We can go through the call me list quite easily.
Yeah,
like
that's
this.
right. Just keep leaving nasty messages on people's machines.
And then we'll get posts. Oh, I can't believe it. I wasn't there. Oh, damn.
Sometimes they post on the forum like 5 minutes after we're still doing the show, and I see the thread. It's like, nah, 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 nah. All right, Mr. Chicago. We'll have to try again some other time.
Maybe there was an emergency meeting of the Great Lakes CGS.
There you go. You try for a third and last one. There's the charm.
We'll try for a third here. Let's. We'll call. All right, we'll call Nate Hook. He's Hook on the forum.
Okay.
Of course, everybody's enjoying listening to all this silence here. We need some dialing music.
We're meditating.
For God, Don.
Because it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Hi, this is Bobby Nasso at TCB. I'm either away from my...
What? I wonder if I dialed the right number.
Let's talk to her.
That's Bobby Nassos.
What the hell is that crap? I'm going to try dialing this number again.
Oh, no.
At least we didn't get her. I mean, that would have been even more embarrassing. Who is this? This is Bobby Nasso.
You're in the air.
Do you know some guy named Hook?
Are you a hooker?
Oh, jeez.
You're a hooker? God, I just thought I was doing great with you. Arthur, one of the funniest movies ever.
Oh, love that movie.
They've been showing that on HBO lately. Oh.
Hey guys, I'm either away from my phone or busy doing something else. So please leave me a message and I'll return your call as soon as I can. Thanks. Hope you're doing well.
Are you busy posting on the forum?
To page this person, press 5
Why
now.
would you page somebody when you're calling your cell phone? I don't understand that.
We've
When
had
you
more
have finished
conversation with her than
recording, you may
anybody
hang
else
up
today.
or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Nate. It's Brian, Jamie, and Peter here. And you missed your chance, man.
Your big break.
I hope you're busy working on stuff for us, and that's why you couldn't answer your phone.
That's the only excuse we'll accept.
That's right. Otherwise, you can tell your sob story on the forum.
I should have picked up.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we'll try next time.
Bye.
Bottom of the list.
All right.
All right. That's enough of that. Well, that was a total...
Should we stick a fork in it?
Yeah. No more of that. Disaster. Ay, ay, ay.
Hey, Chihuahua.
Here's a voicemail.
Okay. Unless it's actually not there.
It was a 0-second voicemail. Okay. We can't even do voicemails tonight.
What is a prank call?
Ay, ay,
They were saying,
ay.
oh, we're going to play. It's going to be a second.
Somebody...
They thought we were actually going to answer or something, you know? Man, oh man.
I'm waiting for him to answer on that line that just is just a recording line.
Hey guys, this is John Davidson, known as Serial Lantern on the forum. Just got done listening to episode 99, the show about Top Shelf. Really good show. Really looking forward to episode 100. Loving the show, loving the board, loving the website. Just keep up the good work, guys.
Thanks.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, so after all that, it was worth it. We got a
nice little compliment to.
Maybe we should just stop right
exactly.
there.
Right
because
there. Beautiful.
No mas.
They could be really bad if we keep going. We'll get a mother effing comic book.
Yeah, or Bullwinkle J. Moose will call back.
All right, I think that's enough for the day. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, as I cross off our call me segment on the to-do list. Complete waste of time. Oh boy. So we got to give a big thanks to Paul Daly and Steve Bryant from Athena Voltaire for joining us, and their website is athenavoltaire.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
there's actually a couple websites here. Hold on a second. Let me just quick shout them out. athenavoltaire.com and also terranautscomics.com. So check those both out.
Cool. Thank you, Peter. All right, if you want to send us an email, it's comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. And check out our brand spanking new website at comicgeekspeak.com. Big thanks to Loopy Dave for doing all the graphics for that. He's an amazing artist, and we love him. And thanks to upallnightgaming.com for hosting the website. Once again, a friendly reminder to please vote for us at Podcast Alley, comicgeekspeak.com/vote. And a reminder that we're brought to you in conjunction with worldfamouscomics.com, your spot on the internet for the best comic book and entertainment-related columns, contests, features, reviews, news, resources, and more. As always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.